Go ahead and get started on time. So good evening to the students, families, and supporters who are joining us today. We're so glad you could be here for today's session on family services at Stony Brook University. During this session today, we'll have representation from the Family Services and Support, as well as our pals, Jess and Rebecca from the New Student Programs Office. My name's Lexi. I'm the graduate coordinator for New Student Programs, and we also have Megan with us, the coordinator for Family Services and Support. And to start off this session, we'll just hear a little bit from each of our panelists, and from there we'll open the floor for your questions. Feel free to ask questions to the pals as well as the Family Services and Support team. This session is being recorded, and access to the recording will be available on the same page that you logged into. So feel free to submit your questions throughout the session, and we'll get to answer as many as we can. There's a little Q&A button down at the bottom, and there's also the chat as well. So I will pass it off to Ellen, and I will be sharing my screen so that you can all see the website.
Thanks, Lexi. Hi, everybody. I'm Ellen Driscoll. I get to work with Megan and Lexi and Jess and Rebecca to bring all things family services to you. We are located in the Vice President of Student Affairs office. So we kind of like that idea because sometimes families have questions and don't have the time, because I know all you family members are busy, but don't have the time to go up the chain of things. So we decided to start at the top. So what you have on your screen right now is the website for the Family Services and Support. And it's been put together by the team to try to answer as many questions as we can that might come up for families. We're always learning new things. Every time we have a new student, we have a new family that comes along with them. So we try to anticipate what some of the questions might be or what some of the concerns might be from those who have come before you. But there's always new things, and we are so open to that. Actually, we kind of appreciate it. For those of us who work on a campus, having it change all the time is part of the excitement of being here. And nothing like working with young people to keep you on your toes. You families know what I mean. So with the website, if Lexi scrolls down a little bit, what we have here, this is the 100% most popular part of the website, is where it says stay informed. Now, we've had students who have come before, your students, and they get letters from the vice president and from the president's office. They get email correspondence all the time. And if your young people are anything like the ones we've met here, they don't always read their emails. They would rather get a text or watch their Instagram or social media, things like that. So often we would have family members calling us and saying, I don't know, I didn't know about that. I didn't hear about that. My son, my daughter, my family member didn't tell me about that. So we've decided on your website that we are going to put all the correspondence that we send to your students. So if there's information about COVID that's going on, what you need to know if you're going to live on campus and return, if there's things that come up, we have a Happy Thanksgiving there, one that talks about what happens over Thanksgiving. The president's office, she often sends out notes to the students, but also pretty informative about what's to come, or that she's congratulating students or staff or faculty who have done some really special things. All of the things that your students will get from higher level administration on campus, you have access to also. It's under that Stay Informed page, and it changes all the time. So, so don't ever hesitate to go on. When you go on our Stony Brook main page, stonybrook.edu, then all you need to do is // for Family Services and Support, and all of this information is yours. So that's the example of how you can stay informed. And when Lexi flips back to the main page, the way that we broke it down is there's all of these, I don't know, topics, for better word, all these areas that we went around campus and we found all of the different areas on campus, which, to be honest with you, it is the entire campus, has something for family members. Somebody is going to ask a question as a family member in one of the many offices that we have on campus. So instead of those of us in family services trying to reinvent the wheel, we went around and grabbed different information spots from these offices on campus and put it all in one landing place for you. So what I like to say is for family members of a certain age, you can open up the web page, click a couple buttons, and have all the answers that you need. For family members of another age, you might actually want to talk to a human being. So we human beings are on the other end also. And before I start to go through some of these topics, if Lexi just rolls down to the bottom of the page, here's the phone number where you can actually talk to human beings, where we are all the time from Mondays through Fridays from 8:30 in the morning to 5 p.m. The phone number is 631-632-6700. Now, what happens with that phone number, if one of us doesn't answer the phone when you call, it could be that we're already on a call. You leave a message that goes directly to our email. So we never drop a call. We never miss an opportunity to hear from you. So if it happens to be a weekend or maybe after hours in the evening when the office here is closed, you can still call the phone number, leave a message. We'll have it on our email. And we may actually have a couple of my colleagues tend to peek at their emails before office hours. So we may even have a response for you before the next day begins. So don't feel like the office is closed, we don't have access. Please still leave a call for us if that's what you're looking for. So all that's at the bottom of the web page. So please don't hesitate to access that. The email address is there also. But you can meet us in person, thank goodness. So anytime between Monday and Friday, we're located in the Student Activity Center on the 2nd floor. So please, if you're on campus, come on over and say hello. Now let's look back at the different categories, and I'm just going to go through them kind of briefly. And if anybody has any questions, you can pop them in the chat box or the Q&A area, and we can address them in a bit. We already talked about the stay informed. Let's look at the family events. So this family events box is really going to also one of those parts of the page that's updated as family events are coming up. The family weekend event is highlighted here because that was the last thing that we had to kind of inform families about. So when you know we have a newsletter that goes out, you need to sign up. Anything you can sign up that says family involvement, you sign up for those things, because then we keep pushing these things out to your email address. You don't always have to come to us. We tend to push things to you. But on this page, as the semester goes on, as the year goes on, we will update this page for other family opportunities to come onto campus. So this is where you can find out time and place, and if there's any costs to the family member if you come as a student guest. Those are the kinds of things that we really hope that you will take advantage of when you become a family member here. So that's one of those things that we're really proud of. But that's only part of what happens on campus, because, and I'm flipping around here to see what the next one is. Because if you are if you are a student, but you're actually a family, wait, how can I put this? If you're a student who has a family themselves, we have a whole section for families of graduate students. That's one thing that we have a pretty significant graduate population here, and they bring their partners with them. As you can see, sometimes they bring their babies or have their babies while they're here, which we're very excited about. But they still have a whole specialized family component for them. The family member ends up being a partner or a child themselves. When the family member in the traditional sense is, it might be a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or a guardian. So if you are a graduate student, or even not a graduate student, just a student who comes with a family and lives on campus together, then this is the page for you. You will be able to find out anything that you need to know that kind of is specific to you and your population. But also, again, you can call us to ask the questions, or in this little box, you may be able to find out some things for yourself without having to chat with us. Some of the other things that happen on our webpage is your student. This is one thing that we hold very seriously. If your student comes to campus, if they don't feel connected to the campus, if they don't feel a sense of belonging, we might lose them. Or we might not lose them, but they just might be miserable. First of all, if students are smart enough to come to Stony Brook, have done all that hard work to get here, it's very competitive, then we would like them to stay and succeed. But the way that we've learned over time that students stay and succeed is if they feel like they have ownership in their campus. If this is their campus, if they have a sense of belonging here, they will stay and they will succeed. They will be the best they can be of themselves, which are things that they learn more and more about while they're here at school. So how can your student get involved is a very popular square on our box here, because parents want to make sure and family members want to be helpful in helping their student get that sense of belonging, get connected. Once they get here, we do a whole bunch of things. There's club and organization fairs where the students who are already part of clubs and organization set up tables so that students can come by, walk through the fair, and they try to like pull them into it. Sometimes there's candy at the table to entice them to come over and talk to them. Sometimes there's a free t-shirt at the table, but they're trying to find other students who want to be part of their organization, part of their club. And there's a variety. There's like over 300 clubs and organizations here on campus. So one of the ways that we've learned over time that students feel a sense of belonging and they get connected to their campus is by doing things outside of the classroom. Yes, outside of the classroom. It seems like a contradictory sometimes because students work so hard to get good grades, to get to come to Stony Brook, and then they get here and we're always asking, what else are you doing besides school? You know, when do you put down the books and go out and play a little bit? It sounds like maybe we're goofing around a little bit, but all of the research has taught us that the students who do best academically are the ones who can close the book every once in a while and get involved in other things. And the other things can be Frisbee club. The other things can be canoeing, horseback riding. Like it doesn't have to have anything to do with what their academic major is, but it gets them away from the studying and the intensity of all that. And it gets them an opportunity to meet some new friends and to have some fun. So we encourage students all the time, get a job, join a club. So when they're coming back home, the first time they're talking to you about, oh, I'm doing all of these things at school, please know that we're encouraging them to get involved as well. Sometimes it's hard to let that go. It doesn't mean that the students are goofing off. It means that they really are connecting and they're using their whole self. Once we're completely engaged in something, we are the best that we can be. So getting involved on the campus clubs and organizations or getting a job or an internship on campus is really important to their overall academic success as well. So that's one of the other, like we have these like, which are the places where family members are most interested in, or which are the boxes that are most clicked on about what's important to them. So those are the things right off the bat. If you end up being a family who has a student who has your own family, if you want to know how you can help your student get involved, and you want to know what the family events are on campus, because now that your student is a Seawolf, we want you to know that you're part of the Seawolf family also. There's times when you can come to campus and your student might not even know. The Staller Center, the kinds of things that when you visit Stony Brook, there's so many other things that can happen while you're here. We want you to be a part of that. Athletics games, art exhibits, plays, movies, lots of different kind of activities. But so the visiting Stony Brook cube on this talks about what else is in the area. It's not just what we have to offer you here on campus, but it's all the ways that transportation, housing, where the hotels are, some restaurants in the local area, athletic events. There's so many things. We are like a little city in itself with clubs and with organizations that are happening within our grounds or just outside. So we would like you to be a part of that as well. And not only for the Stony Brook main campus here, we have a Southampton campus and we have a Manhattan campus. So Stony Brook pretty much is stretched between Manhattan and the East End in those three campuses. So in those areas, there's so many things for students and their family members to engage in together sometimes or sometimes on their own. So please don't be shy. Don't think you have to wait for an invitation from your student. They might be busy, but please, if you're in the area, come by, look in the engagement things, see what's happening, see what is the best way for you to organize your visit to Stony Brook by going to this tab that we have on the website that we put together for you. So those are the main click on things. And then we have the more serious things. Now, if you've been like following along and watching as Lexi clicks on here and there, you may see something that's popped up in a lot of different places, and that's concern about my student. That's one of the places that it can be a tab on the top, as you see, like in the red bar. It's also a box. It's also when we first open up the page, when you can be informed, stay informed, it's right underneath that area too. Concern about a student. If you're concerned about your student, we're concerned about your student too. And this is where the Family Services and Support Unit partners with family members to help your students succeed, probably in the most significant way. As a university, as student affairs people, we are going to help them play. We're going to help them get involved. We're going to make sure they have jobs and internships and help them with that. But when it comes to mental health issues or illnesses or family emergency or family crisis or something like that, that's when everything else gets moved aside, and we want to work with you to help make sure that your student is okay. So my concern about my student is also an important place to go. I want everybody to take a look at this before you even get here, so that you will know, what do I do if I'm concerned about a student? Because one thing that you'll learn as a family member kind of quickly, if you pick up the phone and call and you want to talk to a professor, they're going to say, sorry, families can't talk to professors. Or you want to go to the financial aid office and ask a question about your student. Nope, sorry, we need paper, you have to sign that. Or you'd like to know what their grades are from the registrar's office. Nope, sorry. There's so many things that are protected that the students have to sign releases for before they can share any of that information. And that's federal law. We call that FERPA, that the students have the rights to keep things to themselves if they'd like to. But when it comes to, if there's some sort of a crisis or some sort of concern about your student, that's when we want to talk. We want you to talk. We want to listen. We might not be able to give you information back about what your student is going through, what they're concerned, if they're even a student here, but we will listen and then follow up. So the folks who are answering the phone at the student support, at the family services phone number, 631-632-6700, is myself and my colleagues who are the student support team. Now that's important to know, because our day jobs are student support. All day long, we talk to students who have issues, who are trying to navigate their way through campus. Maybe they're just a little confused. They need some sort of a resource. This is a big school. If you have a question, you can either go from office to office to office to try to figure out the answer to that question, or you can come to student support. Your student can come to the student support team, and we pick up the telephone and we call our colleagues and get the answer. We don't have the answers, not all of them, but we have the phone to our friends who have the answers. So we're kind of, I described to a student at orientation last fall that we're kind of like the information booth for students on campus. When you're not really sure what to do next or where to go if something comes up and that question hasn't been answered yet, you can go to the student support team. That's our day job. That's kind of what we do every day, all the time. Try to keep a sense of what's trending with the students, what their issues are, what their concerns might be. So then when a family member has a concern, or if a family member has like, I'm trying to get in touch with my student because grandma's really sick, the best way to get in touch with your student is to call this phone number, to come through family services and support. Let us answer this phone on the other end, get all the information from you. And then from there, we'll go and look for your family member. We'll look for your student to see if we can get them back connected with you. We've had a lot of moms calling looking for sons because they just haven't heard from them in a while. And 9.5 times out of 10, when we track down the sons, they have lost the charger for their phone. And they're kind of afraid to tell mom and dad because they lost the charger again for their phone. So, so please be comforted. We have lots of chargers that we can share. We will get their phones charged up again and they can reach back out. So those are some of the things that happen sometimes. But then there's other times when you, as a family member, you're the expert in your student. We as university folks, we're experts in this Stony Brook University. what the schedule is, what the campus is, when the exams are, those types of things. If you start to pick up changes in your student that gives you kind of an uncomfortable feeling, like something's not right, like maybe they seem to be withdrawing, or maybe they're acting out in ways that you never saw them act out in before. If you can reach out to us, we can first help you understand. I've talked to a lot of family members who are concerned that their son or daughter has been withdrawn. They haven't spoken to him in a while. And just casually, I said, well, were you talking to him before exams started? And I remember the one dad was like, wait, there's exams this week? So he wasn't familiar with what the schedule was. And then he said, never mind, I'm going to leave her alone. So those are the kinds of things that we can help with. Also, we absolutely understand what it means for a young person to be transitioning from their high school days to their college days. So sometimes some of the changes that come through that transition are maybe they're trying on new things. Maybe it's new clothes, maybe it's different color hair, maybe it's, so that may be normal transition for you, but if any of those things seem to be a little extreme or upsetting or of concern for you, that's why we use the word concern, please contact us, and that we will take the information, not confirm or deny anything for you with your student. Take the information, and then with our contacts on campus, we will reach out to them, check in with them, make sure that they're safe, make sure that they reach out and contact you. That's kind of, that's what the student support team does anyway. But we want you to know that we will work for you through this family services line, because you know best. They may be having difficulties. We haven't met them yet. You know them, you love them. Let us know, because we love them too, and we want to make sure that they get what they need. So the families concerned about my student for families, you'll see it pops up in a couple different places on the page. Do not hesitate. There's no question that's too little, no question that's too grand. If you have any concerns, call us. And along with that, if the concerns end up being like after hours or on the weekend, if you feel like it's an emergency, I cannot get in touch with my child, I'm not sure what's happening, I can't find my student, University Police Department is here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have 1,100 acres of our campus here. We have an entire police department devoted to safety for us. So please, their phone number is 631-632-3333. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call them, let them know you're a family member, you're concerned about a student, whatever your concerns are. If our office is closed, they will pick up the ball and they will follow up with us, or they'll look for the student on their own, whichever seems to make most sense. So pretty much for emergencies, we are here with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I want you to be relaxed about that. There's a lot of campuses that don't have that police presence in the same sense. So we're really proud of that here. We feel like they're covered if anything were to come up. And then of course the snowstorms and all that fun stuff, the police are in on too. So they're also the ones that you will get a notice along with everybody else. In an abundance of caution, we're going to close the school. You will find all of the university police stuff under our safety and preparedness page. This is exactly, if you were to go to university police page, these are the kinds of things that you will find on there. All of the things that we do to try to help educate and inform the students on campus about how to keep themselves safe and how to take care of each other is all part of this. And one of the things that we have on that the University Police has also is you can be involved in the campus alert system. So there's an opportunity for you to sign up through your email or your phone about how you can get the Stony Brook alerts. Those are the snows day. Those are the road closes. Those are, we had a flood on campus last semester. People who had the alert knew there was a flood on campus. Like any of those kinds of things, when we are putting an alert out to students, we want everybody who cares about the students to know there's something happening. We're paying attention, and when the thing's resolved, the alert comes out too. So I've had many alerts come when I'm home in Huntington. I get a call that The closure, the classrooms will not open till 11 o'clock in the morning because of snow. There was an alert once that the north entrance was closed because a tree had fallen. The alert comes back, the tree has been removed, the north entrance is open again. So you do not have to be in close proximity to keep up with what's happening on campus in terms of safety for your students and for the whole community here. So that's something you can sign up on all your phones, on your emails. It's great. We always knew when it's a snow day at my house because the house phones ring, the cell phones ring, the email, everything starts popping up. I'm like, yay, snow day. So, so please take advantage of that. All of their information that you need to know about our emergency procedures and the folks who care about your students who are paying attention all day, all night, is all here on this page for safety and preparedness. So those are the key pages that family members like to go to and find out about things that they might have questions. Some of the pages you can read about them. You can get a good cup of coffee and read through the pages and find out more about it. Sometimes you just need to find out some quick information, like when commencement comes, when it's time for your student to graduate, you can click on the graduation page and it will be up to date with that year, the graduation, where you can park, if there's tickets to be found. All of that information will be on the graduation page when that is a current thing. We're not going to have it updated now. It'll be the previous graduation that we just had in December. So with all of those things, campus resource and everything, probably the favorite one of the family members is sending love to your Seawolf. This is a page that continues to grow and evolve because maybe you want to send them a little something from the bookstore. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to give a birthday greeting or a care package or something like that. We are going to keep adding on to the sending love to your Seawolf page so that wherever you are, if you live in New York State, if you're on Long Island, if you live right here in Stony Brook Village, or if you live on the other side of the world, this is an opportunity for you to go on the website and have a way to have the campus connect with your student in kind of a gifty, fun sort of a way. So we're really excited about this page, and this part of the page is going to continue to grow and change. We actually spent some time last fall asking students, what do you want us to put on your family page when it says sending love to Seawolf, just to get some of their ideas. So keep an eye on that as that starts to unfold. Because I think there's going to be some really fun things you can do. And as family members, if you're like, oh my gosh, I have a great idea. I have a son that goes to a different school and this is what they do there. Please call us and let us know, because we'd like to have all the cool stuff on the sending love to your Seawolf page, because we like that one a lot. So that pretty much covers most of it. The campus resources, you can look through those when you want to. If you're out of state or international student, there might be particular questions that you have. The timeline for you to come to campus might be a little different than others. We have a block there on the page for you for that. So all of the things that we think you might have questions about, like I said, get a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, go through your page, look things over, see if any questions pop up. If something comes up and it's an emergency or you don't have time to look through the website, please call us directly and we'll be able to sort through what the issues are and see if we can get the answers to you as quickly as possible. So I'm going to get back with my colleagues and ask the pals, what else, what did I forget to say? What are the questions might our guests on the Zoom meeting have for us? Let's just open it up to see what else we have.
So while we wait for the questions to roll in, I was thinking maybe Jess or Rebecca, if one of you want to share your experiences from a student perspective, possibly just about your time as a student, what family weekend was like. I know you've probably worked some of them, just, anything that parents might want to hear from the student.
Sure, I can share. I actually remember working family weekend 2 years ago. Actually, was it 2 years ago? Was that COVID year?
Yeah.
2 years ago was COVID year. So the year before that. It's hard to keep track, So 3 years ago, I worked family weekend, and it was just a really great opportunity for families to come and spend time with their students, but also just learn more about campus and kind of see the home away from home that students are experiencing every day. I guess anything to communicate to parents is that, I know when I first got to Stony Brook, I was so excited to be there and I got so wrapped up in so many different things. And that really made Stony Brook feel like my home. So if there's any words of encouragement I could give, it's that if your child seems super duper busy and maybe they're not reaching out as much as they should, that's also probably a good sign because they're getting engaged and enjoying their time at Stony Brook. But in my experience, looking back, I'm really glad I got involved really early on and got super wrapped up in campus life. But now looking back, I do reach out to my parents a lot more because I realized how important they are to me. So yeah, if it doesn't happen right away, it will come with time for sure.
I think I can speak a little more on like the getting engaged part. So I remember when I came for family weekend, it was a great experience. But you're still a little nervous about being on a new campus. There's a lot of people, so you kind of stick with your family, maybe eat with a few other families. But during my time here at Stony Brook, now I'm a peer assistant leader. I'm helping put on family weekend, and I also happen to work with the student support team and the student affairs team. So I work in that office with Ellen as well. So it's kind of like, as I'm a fourth year student now, it's kind of like flipped. So now that I'm not like the nervous new student coming in to the family weekend, I'm helping put on the family weekend. I've met many great faculty and staff members who have helped me along the way, as well as my lovely coworkers like Jess. So it's been a great experience, and just seeing that transition during my time, and like I'm sure my parents are very proud of me. So just being able to kind of grow during my time here and seeing like, okay, I came in to the family weekend and having like my parents come to the football games, and now I'm kind of on the other side of that. So it's definitely been really something special that I've enjoyed here.
It's so cool. I'm not your parents, I'm your aunts, let's say. But yeah, very proud of both of you. Both of you have been quite successful and very engaged, and really just shows the leadership on campus. There's a whole bunch of staff members and administrators, but none of us hold a candle to the student leaders, because they're really the ones that make a difference here. They're really the ones that the students care about when they have something to say, sometimes more than we do, because of their proximity and age. And just because they've done it, they're part of the Stony Brook experience. They're successful in their own rate. When Rebecca talks about being anxious in the beginning and then now I'm not, like that kind of growth, when you can tell that story to other students who are anxious in the beginning, it really goes a long way. More so than if we were to say, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. It's just not the same. And just, I mean, there's so many opportunities that these two women have taken while they've been here on campus, and have succeeded in all of them. So we're actually very proud too, which is part of that partnering with families that we like to talk about so much. You have brought them to this point. Congratulations. Like, students have a lot of support in order to get here sometimes, and they can do it on their own, which is amazing to me. They come from different parts of the country or the world to come here and to be their own person. And so credit goes all around, but we get to watch them succeed the way that you've been watching them up to this point. So it's really, we have a lot of pride in student leaders such as Jess and Rebecca, and all of our students who come. Sometimes the ones who are quieter, we like to find ways to kind of represent them too, because it's quite an accomplishment to get to Stony Brook. It's very competitive and it's a great school. So we'd like to honor everybody. So that's why when student leaders are reaching out to students as they come in for orientation, they spend a lot of time with people like Jess and Rebecca and their colleagues, because they get to kind of talk more freely with the students who have been here before, and they ease their anxiety in ways that we just can't do that. So we're very proud of their success and their legacy, and how they've helped new students really feel more comfortable as they go through this process, especially during these couple COVID years. Like when Jess is like, what was the COVID year? It feels like they've been here a long time. So showing that we all can get through this. Sometimes we look to the students because they seem to be less fazed by all of this transition than we are. So they're really points of pride. So just want to put that out there. They're too humble to tell you those things just themselves, but it's really great.
Lynn?
It's true.
So nice. So much love around. It looks like your presentation was so thorough that nobody needed any follow-up questions. Obviously, as she's mentioned, there's so many different ways to reach the support team if you think of questions later. But for now, I just want to thank you all for attending, and to Ellen, Jess, and Rebecca for presenting for us. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for coming.
Bye, everyone. Thanks. Stay safe.